My name is Ummi Bashir. I am a mother, I am a wife, and I am a lawyer by profession. That aside, I am the current Principal Secretary for the State Department of Culture, the Arts and Heritage, which is under the Ministry of Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage. I am a mother of three. I am a proud Kenyan, born in Wajir County many years ago. I was sworn as an advocate back in the year 2012. That's, I think, now 13 years of practice. I have a master's in armed conflict and peace from the University of Nairobi. I am currently doing my PhD at USIU in international relations and concentrating on foreign policy and diplomacy. So I'm a student. At the same time, I am handling this big office, which is an eye-opener. And it's a great opportunity for me because it's the biggest desk I have sat behind, and serving Kenyans is an utmost honor for me. So apart from that, I am a philanthropist. I have an organization called Women for Women Alliance that has slowed down because now I am more busier with the national agenda for culture and heritage and arts. But it is running behind the scenes where we support women empowerment in northern Kenya, specifically Wajir County. I strongly believe in giving back to the community, and you know, charity begins at home. So that is why the community-based organization is based in Wajir. So I was born in Wajir, specifically the town. My dad was a water engineer, so I was born in the hospital there, Wajir General. And those water houses that are there in town, if you come from Wajir, you know those houses. I grew up in Wajir. Then my dad was moved to different counties, different places. He was moved to Isiolo, he was moved to Mandera, Garissa, so we had to move with him. That was the late 80s. So we initially moved to Mandera, then we moved back to Wajir, where my brother and sister were born. Then we went to Garissa, where my other sister was born. So we were nomads, basically. So he was a professional water engineer, and we had to move with him. My mom is a teacher by profession, so you know how it is as a pastoralist. And as the African culture, where the husband goes, the wife goes. But I think these days where the wife goes, the husband goes. So just on a light note, but so we used to move around with my dad because of the transfers. Then finally, we moved to Nairobi. We lived in Westlands, so we went to Westlands Primary. My dad was working here at Maji House, and my mom was a teacher at a special school called Jacaranda Special School in Kileleshwa. And that aside, we then moved to Kajiado, where I completed my primary school. I did my final year in a school called Al Huda in Kajiado. So I'm a real pastoralist. Then I went to Moi Girls Senior in Kajiado County. Yeah, so that's basically it. And then I went and got my LLB, came back, went through my school. Law has always been my passion, so I went into the practice. I've worked with the United Nations, UNDP, UNHCR. I've also worked with the county government of Mombasa. It was an honor where I really was in charge of the legal part of the county assembly, then moved to the governor's office. Then later on, I went to Wajir County, so back at home, and that's where I was a chief officer for public service and labor. Then I went into the campaign trail. I went to UDA. I was the vice chair lady for the National Election Board back in 2022. Yeah, and one thing led to the other, and I'm in this office now and trying to support culture, arts, and heritage. We are 9 kids. We are 6 girls and 3 boys. And most of them are not in the country. We have doctors in the family, we have a lawyer, we have business, entrepreneurs, and so on. Yeah, so that's basically it. I think the fondest memory I have of my career is the first time I went to work at Ahmed Nasir's law firm as an intern. That was the year 2007, I think. And I got my first salary of 10,000 Kenya shillings. And I was very excited, I remember. We were given the money in a white envelope, and I could not wait to get out of the office to count the money with my hands. And I think it was an opportunity, and I realized, I think, money is very sweet, but then I had no plans on what to do with it. Then I realized now, I went to sit with my dad. I told him, listen, now, Baba, I got 10,000 Kenya shillings, which is a lot of money. Now I need to plan. I want to buy land. He just laughed at me. He said, you see, don't start with major investments. What do you want to do with this 10,000? So the whole month you've been working, you had no plan. So I said, actually, I want to buy shoes. I want to buy a bag. I want to buy a watch. I want to buy the latest phone. He said, listen, it doesn't work like that. Before when you receive the money, you have to have a plan. And what you can do now is to remove the transport that you're going to use for the matatu, because I'm not charging you for rent in my house. So what you can do is that matatu, weka kando, then save the rest. So that's how I got the idea of saving. So for me, it was an exciting time to get that money, because I was actually thinking, and as an intern, there was no agreement per se, so you just work and for free and you go. So the next day I went and told Senior Counsel Ahmed Nasir, thank you for the 10,000. He was looking at me like, okay, now this one. He told me, you have to work hard so that you can get double that, triple that. I said, wow, okay. So I used to follow him to the courts when he would go, and I would tag along so that I learn a thing or two. So I realized that money is sweet, but if you have not planned for it, then it's just a wasted opportunity. And also, your money is the sweetest. It's the sweetest because you're in charge of it, and you decide, sadaqah, this much. This is for the mom and dad. This is for the family, and you become independent. And as a woman, I think I've grown up into that financial independence mentality, where yes, you're married, yes, your husband is supposed to take care of everything, alhamdulillah, he does, but it's sweeter when you have a little control of buying an extra abaya, extra shoes, taking your children for a holiday and feeling sweet about it. So alhamdulillah, it was an eye-opener. Wow, after university, my first job was Care International. Immediately after university, I joined Care International as an intern. And that was the year 2008-9, I think. And that was before I went to Kenya School of Law. So I was an intern, and I'd go to Hargeisa. It was my first time visiting Somalia. And I was handling the tools of emergency, specifically for Hargeisa. And I loved the NGO world, but I felt like there's more to life than just waiting to save people and help people. So the point of policy legislations and subsidiary legislations is what now I started focusing on in legislative drafting. And that is why I moved now to drafting legislations in the County Assembly of Mombasa. So for me, that was the first entry of the NGO world. Then I went to work in the East Africa, Ministry of East Africa Community as a PA to the minister then. That was 2010, I think. So I've been around. I've been to the NGO world, to the national government, to the county governments, and the business now, the law firm, which of course now I've stepped aside because of obvious reasons, juggling PS work and also that. But for me, I think the best work that I've done is handling and supporting people, empowering people, especially the women and the weak in the communities, because that's how I was raised. So I have this drive and this urge of setting a good example for my siblings, setting a good example for the girls from my community, and just being a mind that is consulted in terms of intelligence, growth, empowerment, and financial stability. I insist, even if you're selling sukuma wiki, even if you're selling, you're a tailor, even if you're selling whatever you're doing, small business that is there, it is the sweetest when you are in charge of your financials. So educating myself and my siblings on financial independence, because the person supporting you will not always be there. Sometimes they die, and sometimes you may need an extra something. So it's always good that this only catapults you from the ground of education. If you don't have an education, I would not be where I am today. So I'm grateful to my parents for educating me and taking that risk, because in our community, mostly it's get married, the man will take care of you. Get married, the man will take care of you. So I'm glad that I had parents who saw that you need to stand on your own 2 feet, and you need to tag women and girls together with you so that you grow. So Alhamdulillah, and I thank His Excellency the President for seeing that in me, and realizing that I'm a force to reckon with, and empowering me to this office, because I'm among the youngest principal secretaries as we have in the country today. And being young does not mean that you're not wise or you're not experienced. We are young, but at the same time, we make some of the most difficult and complicated decisions. But we always consult. We have think tanks, we have assets in the departments who have been there way before us. So sitting in that big seat does not, it throws you to the end of the deepest end of the swimming pool, but staying afloat. I do this thanks to the people around me, the advisors around me, the ministry, the people who've been there way before me. So it's an exciting journey. I think it would be a cliche if I say my dad, and my mom too. My mom is a serious disciplinarian. They influenced me, first of all, by not laughing around with me. I would, my dad would try and teach me mathematics. By then, I'm very poor in maths, but I know how to count money. But when it comes to multiplication table, he would come from work, sit somewhere, and tell my brother and I, a multiplication table, 5 times 5. And we had to cram and cram before he comes from work. He used to work with the Ministry of Water. So we just know the car comes, he comes in, he sits at the veranda, his tea is brought for him, call them. So we are called. We have to now start saying the multiplication table, because I think he knew that without math, without understanding the basic mathematics, would not go very far. My mom, on the other hand, teacher, typical teacher, belt, kiatu, mwiko, whatever comes. And I think that is one of the reasons why I'm where I am today. They were very strict. Friends, another thing that they always used to limit us on was friends. The notion of you do not need many people around you to validate yourself that you have 10 friends and you have your best friend. And I used to love reading a lot. So my dad will bring me books. I used to love reading. And my cousins would come from Garissa, Wajir, and they'd always see me with a novel. And they said, this one, why does she always pretend like she's the only one who's going to school? But you see, it was not about pretending. It was a passion I had. And I think it's one of the reasons why I love reading up to now, writing, journals. But my mom was a no-nonsense. Like, she would tell you something, if you've not done, so our generation, the younger generation, Gen Z, call it trauma and going for therapy. But I think it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. It's discipline. So, yeah. My firstborn is just turned 6 last week, and secondborn is 3, and the lastborn is 1. So it's so hard to discipline them right now, but I try to inculcate the Quran in them by listening to da'wah and listening to the Quran and going to the mosque with their dad, especially the eldest one. And I find it so hard to beat them, but sometimes I can't avoid, but I don't beat them. No, not really. I try my best to spend time with them. It's not easy, especially as a young mom. It's not easy because you're here in the office the whole day, you're across the country, like you travel over the weekends. So the little time that I get with the family, I really try to use it with the kids. The dad is there some of the time, so he disciplines them, which I think is basically teamwork. So if I'm not there, he's there, making sure there's video calls, there's this. When I travel out of the country, my mom and him support by making sure, that there's someone at home and they're disciplined. And I think it used to be said that it takes a village to raise children, but I think the village disappeared in this generation of ours. Kitambo used to call someone from back at home, Wajir, Mandera, send someone who can support. These days, everyone is going to school, so it's so hard to get people, which is okay, also it's growth. But the most important thing is family. At least they're always there, like they can be called gas imeisha, and you know you're a mom. You cannot say, me, I'm a PS, I don't deal with that. So you have to call the gas guy, the maca guy. You know, you're in a meeting, you're told, the child is very sick, he has a fever. Now it's you to choose between a serious meeting or going to check if the kid is okay in hospital. And it's a tough journey, but alhamdulillah for support and also for guidance, because wallahi, if it wasn't for Allah's guidance, I don't think I would be here. Wow, I had no idea I was going to be a PS. It was the list. It was actually not on my list, not even at the bottom. It was not on my list. I always had this notion of being someone of substance in the community and being a good example to the girls. When you're told you can't be something is exactly when actually I put more effort in it. I joined the party, UDA back then, and I wanted to support because I strongly believed in the leadership of William Samoei Ruto, His Excellency the President. His story is marvelous. If you're into politics and you read his story and you watch his videos and what he's been through, it was very encouraging. And I thought, if we have that kind of ideology in northern part of Kenya, then I think we'll have many changes done for us as a country, the roads aspect, the water, the housing issue. We are stagnated to believe that we're not part of Kenya, thanks to the sessional paper number 10 of 1965. And it is a story that is never ending up to now. It is a story of we are always at the begging end of the table. Oh, we are forgotten. Oh, people only remember us when they want votes. But I knew this time it would be a different story. That's why I made sure that we had the UDA offices in Wajir. We had a team that is working on ensuring that he comes in. We had a team that is putting up billboards, having night meetings and getting the best of the best as MCAs so that we have this journey of unity and unity for our purpose and supporting William Samoei Ruto. That was not the time I even thought of being a PS. I knew that we were going to win and I wanted to be part of the winning team. So I made sure my family was part of that because they were on the other side. I said, Apana, we're going this way. And here we are today. I was at home. My dad, my husband was at home. I think it was one of those lunches at home. And when the news came out, I was shocked.